Good evening and welcome to another episode of My Fiber Fun. Well, you guys, it's going to be fun today for me at least. I don't know about y'all, but I have quite a bit to share. So that's the reason why I decided to come on, although I had told you that I would return once my yarn haul, the rest of it arrived. Well, everything has arrived, but I have to fill you in on the next splurge, okay? It's not that much of a splurge, it's just one thing, but I'll tell you about that in a minute. But before we start that, let me show you my progress. Remember, I think in the last episode I told you that I took down the corner to corner and decided to make it horizontal. For some reason, I just loved the diagonal stripes with this blanket, and I was saying that I couldn't get beyond 38 inches wide, and that was the reason that I was taking it down, because I knew that I would get more bang for my buck by just chaining 200 and doing a horizontal blanket. Sure enough, I started with that. It was growing really nice, and I'm certain that I would have had like a larger blanket that I could just wrap up in all cuddly. But then it dawned on me, I said, wait a minute, I keep remembering in my past corner to corner blankets, for instance, I've always made them for babies. I've never made one for myself, but I made one for a set of triplets. A friend of mine had triplets, and I've made them for other babies too. I think I made one for my great nephew. And what I can remember is that the blanket looked small, but then after you begin to decrease and finish it up, suddenly it's this huge blanket, bigger than what you have expected. And so I thought about that, and although I liked it, I liked the horizontal, but the stripes were just, straight across. And I was like, although, because with the nicer yarn, I think I mentioned before that you always want to go with the simple stitch when you use nicer yarns, because you want the eye to be drawn to the yarn and not to the stitch. So if you do a fancy stitch with some nice yarn, yeah, it's going to be pretty and the eye will be drawn to the stitch, and people may, ask about that. But then what you want to show off is the uniqueness and the beauty of the yarn, especially if you're looking at silk and different other different fibers. And so because it was a simple stitch, just straight across lines might make them think, oh, this is just some variegated yarn, acrylic or whatever. I wanted something that was going to show off the yarn, and I felt that that diagonal slant in the stripes would draw the eye. Yet it's a simple stitch, but it shows the beauty of the yarn as well. So I am currently on my last, I keep calling this a skein, but Noro called these barrels because they're 450 yards. And so actually 4 of these can make a horizontal blanket easily. I did learn that because I had went through 2 of them while doing that before I frogged it and started back on the corner to corner. And so the rest of it came. Mine will be a total of 7 because this was on clearance, remember, at Little Knits. And so I ended up buying 7. I had bought 3 initially, 4. And then I bought 1 extra, and then I ended up getting 2 more because I felt that I didn't have enough as I worked. So those 2 have arrived, so it'll be a total of 7. So what I will be doing is 3 skeins for the increase. Then when I do my decrease to finish off the blanket, it'll be 3 skeins. It'll take that amount. And then I have a skein left over, or not a skein, a barrel. I'll have a barrel left over. And what I will use that for is I'm going to make an extra wide border, because if the blanket is small or too small for me, or, a size that I'm not satisfied with, me using that last barrel for the border is going to definitely widen it by at least 4 to 5 inches, if not more. So that's the plan with this. But anyway, so let's show you the blanket real quick. Okay, so right now, like this, it looks like a shawl. And this is what I mean about length. See how wide this is? So that's the actual, that will be, at least for now, the actual width of the blanket once I start to decrease. But when you look at it this way, the way that the blanket is going to go, and yeah, I still have those stitch markers every 10 rows, so that when I count my rows, I don't have to try to look at these little stitches and count up. I've got 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 95 rows done thus far. And with this last barrel, I know I'll get at least another 15 rows. So that'll get me to about 115. So this is going to grow some more. But now this is how it's going to look when it's done. So as you can see, it's getting wide, you know, on the sides too. So it's going to be a nice size blanket. No doubt in my mind. And right now it's measuring at about 40 inches. I think when it's over and done with, it's going to be closer to 50. I think I'm estimating about 48 inches. So we're working on this. It feels good. I think it's beautiful and I love it. This is going to be my blankie. Okay, so with that said, let's go over what has arrived. First of all, I had ordered another, excuse me. Remember this yarn, and this is in here because I started Feather and Fans blanket with this, and I decided, no, I don't like these colors, and I said I would probably make my great nephew something with the blue and yellow, and because there's enough, and then with the darker burgundy or wine color, you know, that would go into whatever I make for myself, which will probably be a blankie. Either that or a poncho. So I have the green, and remember I was telling you that I requested because they still had that yarn on sale. And so I ordered 2 more because it was 85% off. And so I went on and ordered 2 more to give me enough. So I sent them a note and wait a minute. I think I already showed y'all this. I believe that I did, but yeah, I did show it to you because I told you about the dark green and that they added the light, you know, the olive, the light olive, the dark olive. I think those were the color names. And then they added the cherry, I think it's called red cherry or something. Yeah. So it's either going to be a poncho or probably a blankie. So this is my put away yarn for when there's no other projects going on. But this is some nice yarn because it's Pima cotton. So I'll get something done with this, but it'll be later down the pike. So right now that is stored in the closet. And then also, let's see what else we got. And wait, I got my Vera Bradley bag. It's an overnight bag that my sister bought me probably about 10 years ago that I never used. So I was like, okay, this is a spot to put the yarn. So this particular yarn. So here it is. Let me get this other one in here. I'll get it fixed later because I did have it all in there. I can't fit it right now. Okay, so then the Vera Bradley, it had like this bag to go with it, like for toiletry. So I use that for the Noro yarn. This is that other color that I have that I'm going to make probably the happy shawl with. I had actually bought it initially to put with this blanket to try to two-tone it, but I didn't have the colors right. This color would have worked with the green because I wanted some green and red in this blanket, but I had just too much of that other one to do that. So this will also work with this one. It's just 2 barrels, and I'll be able to get a nice shawl out of this or a bag. I haven't decided yet. But anyway, that's just some extra Noro yarn, and it was on clearance. But you remember I had purchased the silk. And so that silk was still on sale. In fact, that silk ended up being, and where is the other silk? What'd I do with it? Wait a minute, I'll find it in a minute, y'all. But anyway, that silk ended up, they dropped the price even more. What did I do? Hold on. Just know I have 2 more of these. But these are the ones that these are the new ones, but the old ones, I think, oh, they're in that other bag. I've got another bag that's put away. Oh, here it is right here, right in my face. This is the first one. Okay, here's the other two that I ordered. They came with that Noro yarn last week. So I have 4 of these, and this will probably make 2 shawls. So my sister's birthday is coming up in April, so I may make her a happy shawl for her birthday. I haven't decided yet. We'll see. Okay, but she'll get something because I told her I'll make her something nice. And then you all know, of course, I have this Noro, and this was very cheap here. It's called, I forgot the name of this yarn. It's on the back, but I'm not finding it. Oh, here we go. Here we go. It's called Noro Asaginu, Asaginu. So that's it. Okay, so, and this is going to be used to make, I had said a scarf or something, but I think I'm going to make some market bags with these because I like to go to the farmer's market in the summer. And I think that linen, and it's a linen and paper blend. And so I think that, and it's not like drawing paper, but they call it paper, the fiber. If it is a paper, I don't know what they've done to it, but it's mostly linen. And so I'm going to use that to make some market bags. And so I'll be doing that. And then let me show you, I ended up finding some more fiber yarn. And this is the end of it because when I found all that other fiber yarn from way back like in 2014 and 15, when I found that yarn, I knew I had some more and I couldn't find it. And although I cleaned all my closets and stuff, I knew it was around here somewhere. I found it in a doggone, you know, one of those little net bags that you would use. You would put your stockings in and stuff. So when you're washing your delicates, I had one of those bags in the closet. And the other day when I was looking for the bag, the Vera Bradley bags to put the yarn in, because I knew I wanted to use those bags, what was inside of that one? That stocking with the good yarn. So this is one that I found, and I don't know what fiber this is. I do have a tag to it because each one has a tag, and it is written. I don't know where it was made. It just says Lang Dalville, so maybe I can pull this up online to find out where it's from. But here it is, but it's written in a different language. All I know is that it's the good stuff. It's real silky. It's real smooth. It's very, very soft, and a lot comes on this ball here. And so I had 12 balls total, and this came out of that bunch that I had bought at the Goodwill store years ago. And I threw away all the acrylic and kept all the good yarn. And then I had made my sister that shawl with it. I had actually made it for myself, didn't like it, but it looked nice on my sister. So she was getting ready to go to France and England that year. And so she asked if she could wear it to France for her trip to France and England because it was like in the springtime. And I told her, you can just have it. And she still has that shawl. Yep. It's draped across her chair in her formal living room. And she wears it from time to time. It really looks nice on her. So she has that. But some of the yarn I kept that cashmere, and I kept this. And so I have 12 of these. And so therefore, I don't know what I'm going to make out of this someday, but I'm just glad I found it. So I put it in my little bucket thing right here because I saved it so that I could show you guys. Okay. Then I found this. You all have already seen that silk and alpaca yarn that I said I bought from that yarn store that was closing. It was a fiber yarn store in Rochester, Michigan that closed back in 2015. And they sent an email out on the very last day saying to come to the store because they still had a few yarns there and it was like 90% off. And I told you the only thing I found, it was that silk and alpaca yarn, half and half. And I showed you the ball because it's real, real thin. Well, it was so much of it that I purchased. And then I also told you that I purchased 2 Q hooks. And I couldn't show them to you in the last video because they were underneath my walker here. Well, I've since gotten them out. Here's one of them. I've actually used this one. And then this one. I've never opened it. And I bought both of these for 50 cents a piece at that closing sale. I said I may as because it was just two of them and they were regularly $4.50. And so I love them. I love both. I love this one for sure. And so I just got them both because they were the only two left. I was the only one in the store and I was buying up that silk and alpaca yarn. So I just went on and got this. So altogether, I think I left out of there spending less than $10. And I had probably about $400 or $500 worth of stuff, which were the hooks and the silk and alpaca yarn. And, oh, it was a few other yarns there, too, that were there, but not too many. But my biggest were the silk and alpaca as far as the yarn. It was so many skeins that I decided to take, I think I took like 5 or 6 balls, and I decided to triple them up to make the yarn thicker. And I didn't like that in the end because the colors aren't the best, but it's from the same yarn. So it'll work, you know. So I made 2 balls, and where's the other one? Hold on, that's one. Oh, here it is. So this is the amount I have of that. But now my ball of the thin one, you've seen that where I'm gonna make the shawl with that real thin shawl. I don't know what I'm gonna use this to make. Probably another shawl, because that's what I mostly like to crochet, shawls and stuff. Or I might just go with the long scarf. I don't know. But this is silk and alpaca. It's real soft and squishy. It's beautiful. Beautiful yarn. And this has never been, I've balled it up, but I've never really worked with it. So we'll see how that turns out. So it's right here with that other yarn. So at least I know I have some fibers in the hopper for if, you know, I'm down, don't have any or whatever. And then the other thing, this shawl that I have on, this, and as you can see, it is discolored for sure. It's going to be dyed. And I turned it into a prayer shawl. This was actually going to be a blanket, and it was almost done. I started this in, let's see, I moved to Oklahoma to go to college in 1999. I started this in 2000, and I did it because I had just started college. I was 38 years old at the time, and I thought, wow, this is just something totally different in my life. So I wanted to do something to commemorate that. So I decided I'm going to make a picot stitch blanket. Why did I say that? That was back in 2000. So this is now 25 years old, and that's why it's discolored. Well, I had gotten it to the point where it was just about done, but then when I was my mother's caregiver, I thought, well, I can make this into a prayer shawl, end it now, which I did. I decided to end it instead of making it into a blanket because it was going to take a lot longer. Plus, I couldn't hardly find, and this is the type of thread I use for it. Now, you just see it, the Aunt Lydia's, but back then, they had different threads. And although I didn't want to buy any white thread because it's discolored enough as it is, I said I'm going to dye it, but I don't know what color I'm going to dye it, so I didn't want to add any more to that blanket. So I just took it down. I took a lot of it down, and then I ended up turning it into a rectangular prayer shawl. I left it pretty wide, as you can see. It's very, very wide. And then I had my late mother to pray over it. And so, but it's very, very intricate. And so this was my project in Oklahoma, with the exception, my late uncle, the one who passed away in November, I made him an Afghan while I was there. I had made an Afghan for a friend of mine who was 100 years old. I made him an Afghan. Other than those 2 projects, this was my ongoing project. I wanted something ongoing so that whenever I had a little extra money, I could just go get a few more balls of the yarn and work on this. So what I did was I would chain 5, and then for those of you who crochet, I would do a picot stitch, spelled P-I-C-O-T. Chain 5, picot, chain 5, picot. So you know this is intricate. So now this turned out to be very special to me because here it is, you know. So my mother prayed over it. It's nice and warm and everything. And it's not looking right now because I have my robe on underneath it. But I wore it so that you all can see it. So every now and then, if I have on a shawl, I'll explain to you the story behind it and everything. So this is actually my oldest shawl that I have. Although it wasn't meant to be a shawl, it is my oldest. It's 25 years old. Okay, and what is the other thing? It was something else. Oh, okay, there's nothing else. Other than, now, for this month, remember I was saying every month, I could buy something fiber-wise. Well, I told you guys that I wanted to make, number one, the happy shawl. And then this tutorial I saw because I've never made a cardigan before. I've tried sweaters and stuff, but I could never get the sleeve right. And so I just kind of gave up on, making sweaters, and I've never made a cardigan. Well, anyway, it's this cardigan. I saw the tutorial here on YouTube, and I believe I posted the link in the second video, perhaps the first, I'm not sure. If not, I'll repost it. But it's called the chunky, oversized chunky cardigan. And so you needed chunky yarn, size 5. And of course, you go to the big box stores around here, they only have maybe 5 skeins of yarn on the shelf. So Little Knits, the one yarn that I did see that I knew would work for that, and I thought it was very pretty, it cost too much. It's actually called Barocco Remix Chunky. And then they have a regular, worsted. That yarn is actually on sale for $9.25. But the regular price of it was like $15 for a 150 yard ball. So, and the fiber is a combination of mixed fibers. Beautiful yarn from what I, looked online. And so the color I wanted the turquoise. They didn't have enough of it because you need at least 9 balls for to make this cardigan. And if you're plus size, even more. They said to add, I think, 4 or 5 more. So the only color I saw that would work for me that they had enough of was an almond color. This dish towel here. See this color here? The yarn is pretty much that color, which isn't bad. And I think it'll go well with my skin tone. And so what I did was, I was like, do I want to splurge? And I thought, I know I only want to spend a certain amount, but I knew that if I got this yarn at $9.25 a skein, $9.25, I said, if I get 10 of them, I'm looking at $100. Well, so then I decided, nope, not doing it. So then, as I scrolled along, because I said, well, let me look at some other chunky yarns because sometimes they have that 85% off, because this was marked at 25% off. So anyway, I kept scrolling, and all of a sudden, I saw these. They had packages of 5 of them, and the package cost, I think it was like $30, but it was a lot cheaper than what it would have cost if I had bought the skeins singular. So for 5, you got a much better deal. You were basically paying for 3. I think it was like $18. You can go to the Little Knit site and see, because I can't remember. It was like, I think for the thing, it was like $18, but then after taxes and all that, it was going to average to 20. So I ended up buying 3 of those, which gives me 15 skeins. And I said, okay, it's going to leave some yarn left over, but I can always, make something to go with it, because I have to still make the hood to it, because I want to put the hood. And then I might want to do a few extra things. So it's always better to have more yarn. But it was just such a better deal getting the 5-pack than it was to get one at a time. If I had bought the 9 singular, it would have cost more than what I paid for. Okay, if I had bought the 9 singular, if I had bought just 2 of the 5 packs, the 9 singular would have cost more than 10 of the 5-pack with me adding it against 2. And then even when I added it against 3, it would have cost less than the 3, but not too much less. I think it would have been maybe $10 less or something like that. Well, when it was over and done with, because I did have to pay shipping because, they had that free shipping deal going on, but that has ended. So the shipping ended up being $7, and I almost didn't do it, but I was like, I'm going to do it. And then I had taxes. So when it was over and done with, it was $133, and I wanted to kick myself. I was like, no, that was just too much. Now I'm out of control here. That was just too much, because I had really planned on spending no more, I said, than $40 or $50, and I could have really done some damage on some of the other sale yarns for that amount. That was going to be my allowance. But I went on and did that because I do want to make this chunky cardigan, and I was not going to be able to get a nice one like that for no lower price. So I justified the purchase. Well, let me tell you guys what happened. I could not believe it. Now, this was last Thursday when I did that. Nonsense, okay? Let me tell you what happened. I get up this morning and there's an email from Little Knits because I'm on their mailing list. And what does it say? We ended up with an overstock of the Barako Remix Chunky yarn. And so it's already 25% off. We've decided to add an additional 30% off. I was like, oh no, because I had just spent all this money, and I was like, oh my God, I messed up. I shouldn't have been so darn quick to do this. Well, for one thing, I go to the site. I'm like, well, let me go and see what's happening and how much it is and all that. I went to it. You actually would have to put it in your cart to see how much the discount is. So I was like, well, I just messed up. And then when I went to it, they had pretty much all sold out. Just about every color had sold out. So as soon as that email went out on, I think it was this morning because I didn't have that email yesterday. When that email went out, them people got there and they got it, because anybody who know about Little Knits know that this is the clearance, yarn site. That's how they get their business. And you can get that expensive fiber yarn dirt cheap. You're still going to pay a little bit, but compared to what it costs, for instance, this Noro yarn, this is regularly $53 a ball or a barrel for this. Now, there's some that are smaller and whatnot that's a lot cheaper, but for this size, and they have some even bigger than this, $53 for this silk and cotton. And your wools, cost quite a bit too. Merinos, it depends on what type you get. And then they have other silks. They have so many different types of fibers, but it's typically very expensive. Well, on the Little Knit site, and they still have this on clearance, you guys. So if any of you crochet, you can get this. Now, I got this at 60% off, and that Pima cotton, they still have that too at 85% off. That's very cheap. For a ball of that, because you can get it singular too. For a ball of that, you're only going to be paying about $3 for a ball. But I got the packages because the bigger packages turned out to be less. I paid hardly anything for this package. I think it was, I forget, but it was under $20. That I know. And this yarn is normally $6.95 per ball. So yes, I saved a big deal. So that what has allowed me to get these good fibers. This is 100% silk. This was 85% off, and they still have it. But last time I had looked, when I ordered this, it said very low stock, and all the other colors sold out. Because when I was going to order 2 more, I wanted it was a color called Pecan Tonal, which was almost like the color of my couch. And this, it was the caramel tone. And I wanted that because it would have matched well against my skin. But that is sold out. The gray has sold out. They had other, different tones. But this was the only one that hadn't sold out. But it said very low stock. And so when I clicked on it, I clicked to get 2 of them, but I kept clicking to see how many they had left. And at the time, they had like 8 left. And so I got 2 of them. So they're probably sold out by now. I don't know. But this is called KFI 100% mulberry silk. And the caterpillars come from China. Chinese, not caterpillars. Yeah, Chinese caterpillars. That's who spins the silk. And so this is it. So I went on and got 2 more because a little goes a long way. And these are some nice size hanks. They're just compacted into this plastic. And so, and because the yarn is not that thin, it's like a 2 weight. So it'll, you know, crochet up easy. I can't wait to get going with this. This will be probably a summer project unless I make my sister the shawl. Now, I wouldn't be done by April, but I could let her know, listen, I'm making you a shawl. It's silk, but it won't be done in time for your birthday. And then, you know, she could see it or whatever. And then we go from there. And then, but this is going to be my summer project, working with this silk. But in the meantime, this Noro, like I said, they still have this. I got this 60% off, and I think it's 40% off now. And they had quite a few colors for the overstock clearance, but most of them have sold out. Now this one, I checked the other day, and they still had some of this same color that I have, which is color number 11. And then this other one that has like the bright fuchsia type colors, the greens, but it's fuchsia. Like, I didn't like that one. So when I chose this right here. But anyway, they're still on sale, and I think they're at 40% off, but off of that $53 each is 50% off. I'm sorry, because it's normally $53 per barrel, and right now I think they have it at 26. And what they'll do is, if it doesn't sell, they'll drop it even more. So I'm just saying, you know, if you crochet. Oh, and this I didn't tell you, this was regularly this silk was, I think it was irregularly like $60 for one hank. They had it on clearance 85% off. I paid 20. Did I pay 24? I either paid 20 or $24 for the hank. Yes, that sounds like enough, but when you go to the regular yarn store, you're gonna pay for a skein of yarn for just acrylic. You're gonna pay now an average of about $7 per skein of yarn, and that's just acrylic. It's not a fiber, it's nothing special. Some of the acrylics look nicer, and for the nicer looking acrylics, you're gonna pay even more. But for your basic, the red heart, that scratchy, thick stuff that doesn't look good unless you get the specialty one, you're gonna pay a lot of money. So in the scheme of things, if I were making a shawl, it would take me at least 4 or 5 skeins of yarn. I would have paid more than what I paid for a skein of this. So therefore, I actually saved. I just had to buy it at one time, you know. So, and then this, like I said, is well worth it. This might look small, but these barrels are huge. They go a long way. I should at least get another 20, 30 rolls. So that's gonna, you know, make this big. This is actually, I just started with this. I've only done like 3 rolls with that. My last barrel. This is only 2 barrels that I've used thus far. And see how far this has gone? So, and we're talking 6, because once I finish the increase, then the next 3 barrels will be for the decrease, and then that final barrel, and I probably won't even use all that, will go for the border, and it's going to be a big border. That's going to be a beautiful blanket when it's over and done with. So that's it. We're at 33 minutes, so that's it. I've just rambled and rambled. So I will keep you updated so I've got the one more order coming. Oh, I didn't even finish the story. I went into something else. Okay, so yes, I was hurt when the Barako Chunky Remix yarn, when I saw they took another 30% off of it, which made it technically 55%. Let's see, 30, 40, 55% off now. So from that $9.20 that it costs per ball, it's probably gone down to about maybe $5, somewhere around there. I'm not sure. So I was like, you know, I've always been of the belief, if it's something that you want, ask. And either the answer is going to be yay or nay. I've won some, I've lost some. But I said, I'm getting ready to call them, because remember, when I got some wrong colors for this shawl, because I had ordered 2 more wrong colors. I kept those 2 because I had opened them, but the other 2, they were in my cart. And so, and they were getting ready to ship it. And I asked them if they could exchange the colors for two more of this color. They did it. So it was already paid for. So they just sent these. I didn't have to pay again or anything. So it wasn't like I was spending more money. You know, I had already done it for something else. And so they exchanged it and let me get those, which allowed me in turn to add a few more barrels to this blanket. So I was very pleased. So because they honored that, I was like, all I can do is ask. They're probably going to say, no, you've already purchased it. We've already shipped it, whatever. But then when I looked, I saw that it was still under confirmation and hadn't shipped. So I was like, all I can do is ask. So I called and I was very friendly and nice. And I was like, yeah, y'all know who I am. And so she was like, what's your name? And I told her. And she was like, oh, yeah. So anyway, I was like, okay, I'm done now, y'all. I was like, I'm through with the splurge, okay? I said, but I was like, I placed an order on Thursday. I was like, and now y'all have taken the yarn down 30% more because of the overstock. I said, it's all sold out, of course. I said, but mine is still sitting there. I was like, it hasn't even shipped yet, but I paid the price, you know, of the 5. And I forget, $20, whatever that was. She said, let me pull up the order. So she pulled it up. And so her boss was right there. And her boss, I could hear her laughing in the background. And her boss told her, tell her we will credit. So I'm not getting the cash back. So I'm going to be getting about, let's see, I paid $133. So take a 30%, whatever 30% it is off of 133. 30% of that, I think I'm gonna get about probably $30 or $40 back. So no, they will not take it off my credit card, and they will not be refunding it or anything. What they're gonna do is give me store credit. So she said, whenever I order again, and see, and this is the time where, you know, if I'm gonna just save it. They said it would be there. They said if I order again, there will be a special code there. And it's there because believe me, I checked. So it'll be like a special code there. And I type in that code, and then that money will be applied to whatever order I'm doing, my next order, you know, until I spend it up. So if it's $40, that's wonderful. You know, so I said this is the time where I might can get an accessory. I'll see what they have, but I'm not going to do it right away. It'll be later. I'm going to just leave that in the bank. It's like having a bank. Because I could be broke again, you know, because with this inflation and stuff, that's why I am glad. I do not regret buying up all this yarn. At least I will be busy, keeping myself busy, because things may become unaffordable. A lot of this yarn come from other countries, and because of the tariffs, you know, it may affect the prices, even with that store Little Knits, you know. So therefore, at least I've got at least a year's worth of projects to go. And then you got Joann's getting ready to shut down. There's no doubt in my mind they're getting ready to go, unless something happens in the 9th hour or whatever. But anyway, you know, so all we'll have left is Hobby Lobby and Michael. And both, well, I live close to Michael's, but the Hobby Lobby is about 30 miles away from me, the closest one. In fact, no, we got another one, but that one's about 30 miles too, going in the opposite direction. So anyway, so that's it for today, you guys. I've rambled enough. We are 38 minutes, and who was the one who said all the videos will be short? But for those of you who are on my other channel, QSTAD, I say that every time, and I always end up doing like extra long. My videos are either extra long or extra short, so you know. But we'll settle down here. So I'll be finishing this up. I think probably within the next, if I keep with it, probably within the next week or week and a half. So what I'll do is I'll come back, show you my progress once my order of the Barako yarn comes in, so you can at least see that. And I'll show you the progress of this. And then once this is done, of course, I will show you that. And then I'll be getting, I told you that I've found some silk, mulberry silk fabric on eBay, very, very cheap. For what I need for this, once the measurements are complete. So I'm gonna be ordering that, and then I'll show it to you again once the silk is done. And I was just thinking, I have an app that translates. I might can type in the words to this and find out what this fiber is, at least. So anyway, that's my next chore. And if I do, I'll let you know what it is. But anyway, so you'll see that. And then once that order comes in, which will probably be later this week or early next week, then I'll come back and show you that. Okay, so I'm off of here. So I will talk to you everyone later. And if you're working on anything, type in the comments what you're working on, or if you're learning to crochet, what type of yarns you prefer. Have you ever used fiber yarn? Talk to me. A few of you have. And let me know that you're out there and that you crochet. So I will talk to you guys later. And may God bless you all. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.